is S37, war number 2, and we are up against SGA-1. Today, my team will be Kitty Pryde, Omega Sentinel and Human Torch. I'm taking path 7 in section 1, path 5 in section 2, Angela and Thing mini-bosses, as well as a few shared fights along the way. Now, I'm not using Tigra this war because, just like last war, people enjoy banning my favorite champions, and today it wasn't Kitty, it was Tigra instead. So, all the Kitty gameplay today is gonna be without the Tigra synergy, which means that I won't have the unblockable. Up first we have this Longshot here with the Conflictor node. I'm taking this fight with Human Torch and I have the White Magneto pre-fight here. And I did also apply the Nova Flame pre-fight. As you saw there, I had to back out of the warm-up before going in the fight, because the Nova Flame pre-fight didn't actually apply. So always keep an eye on that. The White Magneto pre-fight allows me to completely ignore the Conflictor node and land my parries with the passive stun. And thanks to the Nova Flames, this Longshot is gonna melt really fast. No issues here. Next up we have a Rintrah on the Vivified and Brute Force node, and I'm taking this fight with Human Torch as well. Now, the plan here is to just spam my heavy attacks to keep knocking him down to remove his charges. And looking back, I probably should have saved my Nova Flames for this fight, because it's gonna be a bit longer than I wanted it to be. For the most part I'm gonna be parry heavying him, as well as punishing his special 1 with my heavy attack, but occasionally I do parry him and tap him with a light attack to reset the brute force degeneration timer. Doing the fight this way is very safe but also pretty slow, since I'm not really building up my smolders by letting him hit into my block. But again, it's very safe as long as he is throwing those specials, so I would say this is the best way to fight him. If this Rintrah was awakened, I would have to worry about the power gains from him failing my dexterity occasionally. To avoid that, you could remove your dexterity mastery, but then if Rintrah gets to his special 2, just do not forget that you can't exit. So yeah, not the fastest fight for Human Torch, but it is pretty safe and you're not gonna take that much damage, so you don't have to really heal him up afterwards either. Then we have a Nick Fury on the Incinerate and Poison Hazard Shift node, with also the power efficiency, and I'm taking this fight with Kitty Pryde. Now, since I don't have the Tigra synergy, I won't be unblockable above 10 prowess here, but it actually helps in this fight. Since I don't want to be attacking him during the poison phase, I can still keep hitting into his block to push him back so that I don't get cornered. The plan here is to avoid hitting him during the poison phase directly and instead just dance around, hit his block to push him back, and just play time until he goes back to the Incinerate phase. I'm trying to bait his special 2s instead of the special 1, because that disorient debuff you get from facing it does give him the big fury buff here, and with that active, one mistake and that's the end for you. Now that Nick Fury is above 16 tactical charges, I'm taking advantage of his AI. If you didn't know, Nick Fury will not throw his special one while he's at 16 or higher tactical charges. So no amount of baiting specials will get him to throw it, meaning that you can freely leave yourself open, go for intercepts or bait heavy attacks, and he just will not throw it. The AI basically doesn't want to push Nick Fury to 20 or above tactical charges because that would reset them. The same applies for his second life, however his AI doesn't adjust for the fact that he now gains double the amount of tactical charges with his special one. So it's still at 16 or higher that he won't throw the special one. At this point, with the increased prowess potency from the incinerate debuffs he's been trying to apply, I could probably finish the fight with my special 3, but I wanted to drop him down a little bit more beforehand so that it would for sure finish the fight. Next up we have a Kitty Pryde on the new Power Snack node, and I'm using Omega Sentinel here, starting with the Cowardice debuff. The idea here is that since Omega Sentinel is immune to Nullify, the Power Snack doesn't do anything, and the Cowardice debuffs completely remove all of the prowess that Kitty has on her, as well as prevents any new ones from activating for as long as you have the debuff up. And with Omega Sentinel, you're gonna have it up for the whole fight. I made a slight mistake here and used my special 2, which just means that I take some unnecessary recoil damage. I would have been fine just finishing this fight with my basic attacks. And it did end up costing me a potion. Next up we have an Overseer on the Ebb and Flow Intercept node, and I'm taking this fight with Kitty Pryde. Now this one is a little bit more interesting without the Tigress Energy, since I can't just ignore the auto block with my unblockable. But that's where Kitty's stun immunity comes into play. While facing, Kitty is completely immune to stun, so you can just hit into Overseer while he has his auto block active to trigger it. Overseer's auto block works the same as Medusa's, so it doesn't auto block the first hit of your basic combo, it auto blocks the second one. So just make sure you're facing, you dash at him and throw a light attack after your medium to trigger the auto block. That removes the charge completely, so you can just do your normal combos afterwards. Kitty's phasing is long enough to land a parry after your medium light combo, so after triggering Overseer's auto block, you can gain a free opening by going straight for a parry. Since you're still phasing, you take no damage from that parry, so it's like having perfect parries without the increased stun duration. As for why I'm punishing his special one with my heavy attack, it's just a force of habit from using Tigra so much, but it does help a little bit with gaining distance with Kitty. I'd say this fight and the Nick Fury fight are perfect examples of why I think that Kitty Pryde does not need the Tigra synergy to be amazing. She really doesn't need it to be able to do most of the things that you see me do, but without the synergy you just need to play more carefully. You can't just dash in and out all you want. Up next we have an America Chavez on the Ebb and Flow Intercept node with Mighty Charge, and I'm taking this fight with Kitty Pryde as well. The basic plan here is to just ramp up my prowess as much as I can and then just nuke her down with a single special too. With America Chavez low health pool and the damage increase from the Ebb and Flow Fury passive, one special 2 is really all you need for this. You don't need to ramp up your prowess potency or anything like that. Next up we have a Knull on the Ebb and Flow Intercept shared fight, and I'm taking this fight with Pryde. First I wasn't really sure if I should remove my Liquid Courage Mastery, but then I figured that I'd be phasing for most of this fight anyways, so the regenerate reduction from Despair and Knull's debuffs wouldn't really be an issue. Now this fight didn't really start well, because Knull decided to throw his special 1. Now instead of going to my special 2, I needed to throw my special 1 here to avoid the corruption. Otherwise I would have just nuked this fight down with a single special 2, but now I need to build myself back up there. Now there's something that I didn't really notice during the fight, and it's that those Darkness passives on me lowered my combat power rate enough for me to fall short on my special 2, so I ended up throwing my special 1 instead. Luckily it didn't make a difference there, but that is something that I need to keep my eye on for future fights. Next up we have an Angela on the Safeguard miniboss node, and I'm taking this fight with Omega Sentinel, starting with the heal block debuff. The plan here is the same as against a King Groot on this node. I need to get my special 3 for the 6 Incinerate debuffs and have a heal block up to completely disable the conduit healing. The only difference here is that Angela will be unblockable for most of the fight due to her regeneration buffs. She also does lower the duration of my Incinerate debuffs, but as long as I can get the pause timer up in time, this fight should be under control. I go for a double medium before throwing my special 3 to inflict a new heal block debuff on Angela. I do that to make sure that for as long as I have the Incinerate up, there will also be a heal block debuff up, with as much duration left as possible. You really don't want your heal block debuff to fall off while the Incinerates are up, since that would mean the conduit regen would kick in and you wouldn't really do anything. Then you'd have to sacrifice on your pause timer to inflict another heal block, which would most likely mean that you're gonna drop your Incinerate debuffs. I failed to get an opening here to land another pause on the debuffs, so I ended up dropping the Incinerates anyways. I should have used my special 1 there and paused them that way. Luckily she was already so low that it only took a few more hits to finish the fight. For my last fight we have this Thing miniboss on the Stunning Reflection node, and I'm using Omega Sentinel, starting with the heal block debuff. This is basically just a stun immune thing for the most part, although I will be using the auto block trick to disable the Stunning Reflection from time to time. The most important part about taking this fight is making sure that you manage his rock stacks properly. You don't want to leave him at 15 stacks without being near a special. Since Omega Sentinel doesn't have anything to deal with Unstoppable, this is all you can do. Now that the Thing consumed his rock stacks and I'm at 10 armor up buffs, I let him hit into me to trigger the auto block for the Incinerate. The Incinerate debuff disables the Stunning Reflection node for a little bit, It also allows me to gain power from the polka dot power node. You don't have to use your auto block here to take these fights, but it does speed up the fight a little bit and it really isn't that risky at all. Now everything is lined up again and Thing consumed his rock stacks, so now I just stand still, let him hit me to trigger the auto block for the Incinerate debuff again. The polka dot power node got me up to my special 2 and Thing used up his rock stacks here, so everything lined up perfectly for me to throw my special 2. Now with the Incinerates up, all I need to do is just pause them and let them do their job. I use my heavy attacks to pause them here to manage his rock stacks instead of doing my normal combos ending on a light attack. And the Incinerates didn't quite finish the job, but they did get me back up to my special 2, which I will use to finish him off. I'm very happy with how this fight went. Great showcase of Omega Sentinel's utility. Now for the results, we ended up beating them 22-2. We had an excellent war this time.